Hey guys, so we're going to be working on making a seascape this week, which is just like a landscape, except of course under the sea. And here inside of our book called The Shark Lady, right inside the cover were several drawings of some sharks and some different fish and things you might put in your undersea picture. So I thought we might look at some of these sharks especially, and then you can add whatever kind of animals you want to put in your picture. But let's look at, how about this great white shark up here? How did the illustrator draw this shark? So the first thing we want to do when we look at how to draw something that we see, that's not just from our imagination, we always want to look at the shapes first, right? Look at that great white shark shape. It's kind of oval-like, but a little more pointed on the end, right? If I were to trace it, let's see what it would look like. If I don't include the tail, let's just look at the body first. And if I were to trace it, almost looks like a dragon eye or something, doesn't it? It's kind of like an oval, but a really squished one, like somebody stepped on an oval, right? Let's see what else we would get. If we put this back, the tracing paper back, we would see the dorsal fin, the pectoral fin, the tail fin. Let's add on that dorsal fin. Right, that's the one that we always think about when we think of seeing a shark, right? That pointed fin. And then we have the pectoral fin. We have the tail fin. With a lot of sharks, maybe not this particular one, but lots of times that tail, the top part of the tail is usually longer than the bottom. That tends to make it look more like a shark. And I want to attach the tail. Some other things you really want to notice maybe with a shark is how their mouth is down on the bottom part, right? It's not up here on the end, the way a fish would be. You got to come down a little bit. So if I were to draw his mouth the way this illustrator did, she put it about down there. And then she gave her shark these kind of curving vertical lines. And the eye, right, I think I'm going to color in the inside of his mouth. I could also have put teeth in there, couldn't I? I could have put teeth in there. And one other thing with the great white shark is that I think sometimes it looks like there's a line that kind of goes along the bottom because the bottom of them is kind of a lighter color. Oh, and then sometimes there's other fins, depending on what kind of shark it is, right? So if you were drawing a shark, you want that really long, really squished oval, almost pointed but not quite, almost a point there, right? All right guys, let's look at a couple other sea creatures here. What else do we see? Here's the hammerhead one. Look how long that top tail fin is compared to the bottom, way longer, right? And again, we would have that almost stepped on oval, right? Look at this little creature, the Serpent Star. He's a circle, and then these little wavy lines. What would he look like if I traced over him? So you're probably not going to have tracing paper at home. I'm just showing you on tracing paper so we can see just how this particular illustrator drew hers. But you can just draw them by what you see. Just a little circle and wavy lines. A serpent star. Here's a ray. What would the ray be like if we traced over him? He has a pointed wing on this side and a pointed wing on the other side. bump for a head, and just a long tail. And there's his eye. What other kind of animals do we see in here? Let's look again at the illustrations. Lots of kinds of fish. How about a starfish? Do you know how to draw a star? If you were going to draw a star, we just go like we're drawing a triangle. Then we would cut through that line and cut through this one. Oops. Cut through that line and back again. That's a star, but a starfish isn't so pointed on the ends, is it? So maybe I could do it again and make the star a little more rounded. So maybe I would go rounded, 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 and back. And then I would still have to maybe erase the middle lines. That's just one way. And then they have these little dashed lines that go all the way around. At least in the illustration. In the book they do. Right? She did that all the way around to look like these. What other animals are in the sea? Oh, look at all these kinds of plants you could have in your picture. Let's look how she did some of those. This one, if you look carefully, look, it all started from right here in the middle. So if I choose a middle, and then I have all these wavy lines coming out. So maybe I can do wavy line, come back where I started. Wavy line, come back where I started. Wavy line, come back where I started. Wavy line. And I think there would be even more wavy lines in this one, but we'll stop there because the next thing you do is just draw another wavy line that goes all the way around that one to the end and comes right back where it started. Goes all the way around and right back where it started. And I would keep doing that. Some other really interesting plants. Look at this one. That starts from the middle, right here. And there's just a bunch of lines. So they curve, and then as they get towards the middle, they're more straight. Lots and lots and lots and lots of lines. Then I think I'm going to come from this side. Maybe should have started a little lower. And then fill in again till I filled it all in with all these lines. And I bet it would even be better if I just kept adding lines till there's tons and tons of them all coming out of that spot right there. So I could fill all of that in. So many kinds of plants. Look at this one. That's another ocean plant. That one just has little lines that come up, and it has little bumps on it. Little leaves, really, that go all the way up. And all the way up the other side. All up to you guys how you want to do it. Look at this little school of fish. Those are all little like squished ovals too. Little squished ovals. Little short tail. And a fin and the little eye and stripes. But I could do a whole school of fish. Whole school of fish. If I made a whole bunch of them, I would have a school of fish just like she did. There's a tiger shark. Look at his stripes, just like the great white. Ooh, here we have some interesting ones. Guppies, clownfish. How about the snail? How did she do the snail? It looks like a spiral. Last year, if you guys were here, we studied spirals a little bit. If I was gonna draw this one, I could start with just that spiral. Spiral. And then maybe this needs to come down a little bit. And come over and touch the shell. Now I have his shell and I only need his head. I just need his head. And those are his eyes, for his eyes. I'll give him a mouth. I don't know that they would really have a smile, but mine can have a smile. So a sea snail. Oh, there he is, a sea turtle. There's another ray looking at him from the side, but look at those polka dots. Your ray, if you draw a ray, could have polka dots. Look at the sea turtle. Let's pull the tracing paper back for a minute so we can see. Is that an oval again? I bet it is. Let's see if that's an oval again. It's not as squished as the shark oval, is it? And it's a little pointed on the ends too, but not so much as the shark. And if we wanted to add the fins, here's his front fin. Is usually longer than the back one on a sea turtle. And you can add whatever you want to the shell. But basically that long oval, pretty long, and the front fin, back fin, and the head. Oh, look at that. All right, guys, so there's so many ways that you can draw sea creatures. Those are just a few. But I'll put a handout in the Google Classroom too of some different animals from under the sea, and you can try those out too.